Hello everyone, my name is Owain on the Thomas Bros channel, and this is my brother.
Joey.
So today we will be talking about the last 2 episodes of your friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man. So this is your chance to leave now before we get into any spoilers. 3, 2, 1, Wolverine.
Okay, so last 2 episodes of the series, and the first one we start off with today is Hero or Menace.
Yes.
So what did you think?
Okay, so I thought that was a really good episode. I'd say that this episode felt like the finale, and like the last episode, I guess, felt more like an epilogue.
Yes, because it ties off the events with Matt Gargan.
Yes.
And I guess, in a way, the whole gang of the 1/10th, in a way.
Yeah.
Like, the whole like wars between the Scorpion Wars and the 1/10th gang.
Yeah. And it even gives Peter's actual costume.
Yeah.
Because obviously you have the whole thing of that the 110th Street gang actually find like the equipment that's been brought into Oscorp.
Yeah.
After it was obviously taken by Otto.
Yeah, because it's literally following the events of the last episode where they're warring over all the tech that they've taken away from Osborn in his lab.
Yeah, and you want to know something that I really liked was that opening bit when Otto was actually talking to Norman in his cell. Or, like,
Norman was like taunting him.
Yeah, and how he was like, you know, Iron Man may have been the one to arrest you, but I tipped him off. I'm the one that told Ross. I'm the one
like
that
a real
really put...
dig in there.
Yeah,
like
and
it was
now
me that
and now
got you.
all your tech belongs to me. It's like you can tell that he really, really didn't like Otto, and he just wanted to rub it in. And the way Otto gets so angry, like he actually almost breaks the glass.
Yeah.
Like I really like how it kind of shows just how like
those who hate each other.
Yeah, those two really. It's about ego. Like Otto wanted everyone to like thank him because of his ego, and Norman is basically competing with Otto because of his ego.
Well, I think it's more about, you know, who's smarter. That's
Yeah,
what they're trying to... I think, you know, because Octavius did say to him through the window that, you know, one of me is worth 1,000 of you because I have substance. I'm the one that's making it. Nothing to do with you.
Yeah, he's just an opportunist, Norman. But anyway, so then Nico is going, like, talking to Pearl, and then she gets, like, the voice message that Peter's been leaving for her.
From the last episode.
Yeah. And that's when, obviously, the 110th Street gang try attacking the Oscorp truck that was taking all of, like, the different Octavius equipment.
Yeah, the police took it, and, you know, it's about to crash after trying to ram it down with the gang. It's about to crash into Nico, but then what you're meant to believe is that the medallion that, you know, has been teased, that she has, you know, powers and stuff like that, but then it swoops in Peter to save her. And because of these events alone, later on she does, like, understand it from his point of view. You know, you can't be like everyone, help everyone out, so she's more understanding now and saying, you know, I'm going to give you a bit of breathing space.
And then Pete obviously gets Nico out there because right after that, Scorpion shows up.
Yeah, he has a helmet this time.
Yeah, he's got a helmet this time. And I mean, obviously it's not like a completely comic accurate look because like you can still see like the jeans and stuff that he's wearing.
And full arms and all
but
that, yeah.
I think it's meant to just look like it was sort of poorly put together, like it's kind of unfinished in a way. But obviously Scorpion attacks with the Scorpion gang, and they kind of have their rematch with the 110th Street while Peter's getting Nico out of there. And they have that big fight in the street, and Matt Gargan almost kills Big Don.
Yeah, who then bails later on.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's gone through the same thing Peter has, where like he's got a bit of a scarred by Matt Gargan, but he's got him and he's actually bailed, whereas Peter's gotten over this now. But, you know, in that fight, Lonnie does take the opportunity to get to the van.
Yes, and he tries to take some of the tech, and then a vial falls out and a load of gases.
I think we said this last time, didn't we, that we could have seen this sort of coming, that this was going to be leading up to the events of him getting his powers.
Yeah,
so
I thought it was a drug that he...
No, it was gas. Even in the game, it was in the gas.
Yeah,
they had, like, on this gang, he put, like, these masks on it using the hospital to, like, sort of breathe it in.
So, obviously, he gets the powers, where he's essentially has the same powers as Luke Cage.
Yeah, because I didn't know if this was going to be, like, next episode teased, he's starting to get them, but no, it pretty much happened instantaneously because he used the Scorpion's tail on him, and it, like, literally shattered into his chest. And like, wow, okay then.
Though I will say, the amount of times that it seems like they've defeated Scorpion and he comes back, like, I think I counted like 3 times that happened. He was taken out by Spider-Man, but then he got back up when Tombstone got his powers. Then when Spider-Man and Lonnie teamed up, they knocked him out again, and just when you think that, like, finished him off, Scorpion, like, drops all those iron bars on Lonnie, and, like, he's back again.
Except this time Spider-Man doesn't hold back his punches.
Yeah, he takes Norman's advice, and he...
It really reminds me of that scene in No Way Home where, you know, Tom Holland Spider-Man really takes it out on William Dafoe.
You know what?
And loses control.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's what it reminded me of as well, especially when he grabs the
And
tail.
not the glider,
Yeah.
There's a little nod to that, obviously.
Yeah, but obviously Tombstone gets in the way and obviously talks down Spider-Man, and then Scorpion's
Which is
put in
interesting
jail.
coming from him.
Yeah.
Thing is, I've never really seen Tombstone as like a real bad guy.
He's never been, because of like his childhood and stuff, and because like the way he was raised and all that, he's never been, like, he's always been a Spider-Man villain, but out of all the villains, he's definitely been one of the better ones.
Yeah, he's not been evil, you know.
Yeah,
he's not evil.
He's kind of like bordered on sort of anti-hero territory.
Yeah.
He just kind of does whatever will get him by.
Yeah.
And so then Lonnie and the 110th Street gang, who have lost a lot of their members to the Scorpions, they get out of there. The Scorpions are defeated, and since Matt Gargan was finally taken out with that last punch Peter put in,
Yes.
they escape as well. And then, yeah, so I thought that was a really good fight that they had there. I would have liked it to be a bit more, I suppose, kind of vicious, showing how vicious Matt Gargan is, like how you had when he first had that fight. But it's alright, because we still got the point across.
The thing is, it's still early days yet, you know, for the whole fights and stuff like that. And as you said before, you know, his suit is still quite bare bones, I guess you could say. Later on, him and Nico meet up, you know, when that cool friend she punches his face, you know, when they sort of make up, you know, and, you know, he says, I'm sorry, but she's like, no, I'm the one that's sorry. We talked about this before. They, you know, sort of become friends again now, because she's understanding of what he's doing. You know, he even rings up Dr. Octavius for some reason, Norman Osborn, and tells him, you know, basically, you know, what he did. And he's like, yeah, I've heard, you know, because he was nearly following his thing, you know, power, respect, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But obviously didn't come to that yet because Lonnie brought him down.
But then you had the really interesting part. After Norman hangs up the phone to Peter, he calls in all the different, like, people to talk about loads of different things.
Yeah.
So you had the one person that mentioned the glider.
Yes.
And how that's been tested on. And then you had the spider being mentioned.
I knew that. As soon as we saw in that episode the syringe in like Peter's arm, I thought they're extracting blood, not giving him like a sedative to like put him to sleep or anything like that.
But I don't think anyone expected what they actually did with that blood, because I thought they would use it to like inject like the lizards and stuff, so then Dr. Connors could become the lizard, or use it for the goblin serum.
Nah, I think that'll be her own thing at the later time, you know.
Yeah, but no, they actually used it to do the spiders again. Well, actually make the spiders technically, as they were technically the original spiders. And that kind of moves in to the next episode.
Yes, the next episode, which is the last one of the season, is actually quite interesting. If This Be My Destiny is the name of the title.
Yeah. So we find out that all the projects that were working on by the people in the
internship
were actually being used to create a portal.
Yeah.
And actually, before we get onto that, you had that whole thing where Peter was late to the science project as well. And the funny part that I thought was like the person that you always thought was the slacker.
Not paying attention on the phone and all that, did the covering.
Yeah, and I found that to be funny. And you also see like Peter solving a car robbery, and from what looked like the people in like the green jackets and stuff, and I recognised them, they were members of the Scorpion gang, so it kind of makes me feel like Spider-Man's tracking down the last members, the ones that got away.
Possibly.
But anyway, back to the big part of this episode. So they make the portal out of all the different stuff made from the internship.
Yeah.
And then Doctor Strange shows up.
Yes, they get together, all the internship people, all the people, like the teachers and stuff like that, on corners, say, why have you brought us here? And basically you see the massive portal in the background, realise all their projects put together, make this happen. And I think it was quite shocking because nothing really said, we're, from our perspective, we're going along with other stories. So seeing this unfold in these little side things in the internship didn't make me feel like we were leading up to this moment to make
exactly. But I really like how they did it because when Doctor Strange comes in, he tells Norman, don't open this portal because there's alien threats.
Well, Peter and Connors both tell him as well, this seems like an unwise decision.
And it's what we talked about earlier. Norman's so egotistical and so determined to prove himself better than Otto that he just ignores this completely and powers on the portal. And that's when the symbiote, the Venom symbiote thing from the first episode,
because when they were talking, and I actually sort of clocked this when they were talking to each other and said, I've got a white witness here telling me that he's seen you at the Battle of Midtown High, which will happen, and he denied it. It's like, well, he's got no reason to deny it unless, because he has the Eye of Agamotto, he can go back in time and do some stuff then. So if it hasn't happened yet, it's going to happen pretty soon.
Yeah, I didn't realise that because I remember you saying, oh my god, it's a paradox. And I was like, how's it a paradox? Until then, the battle actually started happening with, the symbiote jumping through the portal and the spider. And that's when I realised, oh, it's a loop.
Yeah.
Because, Peter and Doctor Strange, they fight, we'll just call him Venom, because that's basically what he is. They fight Venom, and then the spider that Oscorp was working on gets loose.
Yeah.
And Doctor Strange opens a portal, sends Venom and himself through, and it's back in time to the first episode, which is a year ago in the events of the show, where the battle at Midtown High happened. And the spider even goes through that portal as well. And that's when you get to see the battle at Midtown High, but from Doctor Strange's perspective now, with the context of the whole situation. So, I found that really cool.
It's interesting because there's a massive throwback to the very beginning of the season to the end of the season. So you see now how he got his powers. It was technically from himself because the blood they extracted, put in the spider goes in time and then bites him again.
Giving him spider DNA.
So it literally is a loop of him giving himself his own powers. But you have to also remember as well in that first episode, the spider also crawled onto someone else.
Oh, yeah!
Yes. So, I might get into that in a bit anyway, but leaving it off from that, the fight ends, they banish him back to, let's just say, Clintar, because it's the closest place.
Yeah, whatever space void, and there's actually loads of other symbiotes.
And you predicted this as well, then you're like, we saw it sort of come in, a bit of a strand of the symbiote made it through to the portal as it cut off.
Yeah. And then obviously we see that later when Norman's looking through the wreckage after the battle.
And you see a little eyebrow opportunity, because obviously his company now, I guess, is going to be in a shambles, especially after the news companies reporting it that what happened is an incident. He may now see an opportunity to recover Oscorp with that symbiote.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to see what they do with that. And then you have the talk that Doctor Strange and Peter had as well. After,
I like that, because Doctor Strange is blaming himself because of those events. And it's like, well, no, I think everything happens for a reason, If it didn't happen, Spider-Man wouldn't have been there. Who wouldn't have stopped all the criminals that wouldn't have been affected by the time anyway, like the Unicorn, Matt Gargan and all that business. None of that would have been stopped if he wasn't Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. So, I really like that interaction that they had. And then, obviously, you have Harry actually talking to Nico and deciding to make his own foundation.
Web.
Yes, and I know that's actually a company from the comics that Peter made, and no one liked that choice. So it obviously makes a lot more sense than instead of Peter making the company, it's Harry, because he's actually the rich person. So, I really like that as a choice, and then seeing everyone get the invitations, what's his name? Amadeus Cho, is it?
Yes.
Like, he turns it down.
All
to
the
be
people.
promoted.
Oh yeah, I know. I was like, well, it's not exactly a loss there, is it?
No, not exactly.
But all the others were invited and they accepted. And I also see Jean.
Yes. And obviously, in last week's episode, the Daredevil episode, she was snooping around Norman Osborn's office, and now we know it's because she's working with Daredevil.
Yeah, I was always kind of like obsessed with her. I was like, what is her deal? They're clearly setting her up for something. I just don't know what it is. I wasn't expecting like Daredevil sort of like psychic partner.
Yeah, that was odd.
I'm not gonna lie, when you see it from like the down up, I thought the black and white Spider-Woman.
Yeah.
That by the colour scheme, maybe that's what I was assuming at first, that maybe she was the one that got bit by the spider. Maybe she was just walking past or something like that.
Yeah, because maybe she was the one that picked up that backpack or something.
Yeah, that's what I was going with. I mean, probably it's not true, but I don't know. It's just.
But I feel like whatever, like something Spider-Man has done has made her who she is. Because obviously Daredevil, I'm pretty sure, in the actual MC proper, doesn't have a psychic like that.
No, exactly.
Which means something must have happened for him to get that psychic.
And how does he know her exactly? They have to know each other at some point.
So that something must have happened because of Spider-Man or the events
but
of the
he was
show.
already doing Spider on Oscorp, and she was there already, and they sort of bumped into each other, and he was letting her in on what was going on. I think they don't know.
Maybe. But either way, that's really
That's a setup for later on.
And
they did a lot of setups in this
Yeah,
one.
they did. And obviously it means that we'll see more Daredevil.
Yeah, well, Daredevil and Jean as the partner, Webb and Harry letting basically Peter and all the other internships and other scientists, young scientists, get together and do what they want.
Without being taken advantage
Nico
of.
and testing out her powers.
Yes, because she has that whole thing of that, she lights all the candles and she reads that book, and something comes out of the necklace, and she's like, "It's so good to see you again, Mom." And it's
there's more of the supernatural side, which means will she have some kind of partnership with Doctor Strange at some point?
That's kind of what I'm
the
feeling.
Mystical.
Yeah, because she's a magic user, so. But
there could be something there.
Possibly.
Then you've also got Aunt May going to prison.
Yes, well, not going to prison, but,
but visiting prison.
And she actually talks to Peter's dad.
That I didn't see coming. At first, I thought maybe it had something to do with Uncle Ben's shooter for some reason,
Yeah.
something like that.
I thought.
Assuming that's how he died. Does it ever actually explain in this about Uncle Ben?
Apparently, the creator of the show said that Uncle Ben died from an illness, cancer or something.
Right, okay.
So, but at first I genuinely thought it was Uncle Ben, and then I remembered, oh wait, no, it can't be because he's already dead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what was the point of having Uncle Ben in prison? I was like, that would have been weird otherwise.
And then I also thought maybe Matt Gargan because of the sculpture of the face, but then when he actually talked.
Yeah, but then again, what was her interest in talking to Matt Gargan? That was the thing.
Yeah.
It had to be someone she knew personally, and so when it was Peter's dad, it's like. Right, what's going on? Peter can't possibly know he's alive. She must have told him that he's died or something. Otherwise, he would be wanting to know more about him.
And I'm wondering, because obviously from the 90s Spider-Man show and even in the comics, Peter's parents were S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. So it makes me feel like maybe they've done something with S.H.I.E.L.D. and maybe that ties into Hydra.
He may not be in the wrong. Maybe he tried to uncover something, but I don't know, whoever he was working for maybe tried to cover it up and blame him in the process, and maybe he's not the criminal. Maybe it's one of those we've just blamed an innocent man.
Yeah, maybe if we go with that idea, it would be Norman Osborn, and that's how Peter actually fully hates Norman.
Because the only time I've seen Peter's father in any real life action thing was in the end credits scene. Well, actually in Spider-Man.
The Amazing Spider-Man.
The Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if that end credits scene is canon or not in that, but
it's not.
It's not. Okay, well put it this way, that's the closest thing I've ever seen to Peter's father coming back.
Yeah. So that's really interesting way to sort of end it off, but you also have
Dr. Octavius in prison and in the cell
drawing the tentacle arms, and he's got more than 4 arms. He's got 6, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
So that's double the amount that or almost double the amount of what he usually has.
Yeah.
So that is really interesting. He's probably going to try and get revenge on Norman.
And Tombstone, now with the gang, took his jacket off, holding the brick up, still pretending that he's still doing work, but now he's hanging out with the gang. He said he's going to find a new hideout, took his jacket off, some more of the, like, you know, the black jacket and stuff.
And you saw his fingertips turn, like, stony
I thought we were going to get, like, the pale, because that's the colour Tombstone has.
Yeah, because I was like, when he, like, didn't change, I was like, wait, he hasn't got, like, his stony skin to show that he's changed.
His body's just still evolving, though. He's only just had it, so I imagine he's going to get a lot more tougher, maybe a lot more bulkier as time goes on.
Yeah, it seems like that's what they're doing when he has that sequence, that part there. So, yeah, it's very interesting to see how this will all play out.
I was saying they spent a good, easy 5 minutes or so on these setups, and I was like, whoa, how the hell do they fit
it reminds me of, like, I can't remember what the show is, but I feel like I've seen another show do something very similar, where they had a whole episode just doing setups. It might have been Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., honestly.
It is, you got those setups, and you got the ones like, what's going to happen to the chameleon? You know, Dimitri and all that. What's going to happen?
Maybe he'll get his brother involved.
Maybe. What's going to happen to the Rhino? I mean, he went back in prison. All these little things that's happened in the course of this season could be setups of something bigger.
I feel like people like Dimitri and Rhino will take the spot of people like Unicorn as being like the filler.
Yeah.
Not so much filler, but like enemies that are just like one and dones.
I don't know if they're in the same prison as Dr. Octavius. Well, not Chameleon because he's out, but Rhino. Like, I don't know if he's in the same prison as Dr. Octavius with Matt Gargan, because that could be some interesting stuff right there. It's a bit too early for that. You need to get more characters.
But like when you get more characters, because if
that's
you go
more
with
like
idea,
a season 3 thing, because season 3 would probably bring in more villains, and then you'd have something to set up for, and then maybe by that point something happens more with the symbiote and have some dark side. But that is like way off into the future yet. But considering they've already planned for seasons 2 and 3, didn't you say? Or
I'm pretty sure they've confirmed season 2 and 3.
Right. Okay. So very interesting stuff. All in all, I enjoyed the season. I would rate this as a first season, starting off as a foundation. I think it did really well, and I'm going to give it a 9.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree. I really liked this version of Peter Parker, and I really liked how they did Scorpion. I think it's probably my favourite depiction of that character, and probably same with Tombstone. And I liked how they introduced Nika Minoru, because I honestly had no idea who she was.
Yeah, it was only like an episode 2 later. I was like, it's her.
And then I really like the cameos with people like Daredevil, and then I think they did a phenomenal job with Norman Osborn. So,
especially the cameos of Captain America and Iron Man.
And then Iron Man. I honestly completely forgot about them.
But please let us know what you think of this entire show, how excited you are for season 2. Let us know if we've missed anything that you want to talk to us about, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. But that is going to be it from us. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, then please leave a like. And we'll catch you both in the next video. Bye-bye.
Ta-da!